Hi, Dylan Morrison here. Welcome to this, my 20th mini blog talk in the Desire series entitled Divine Resonance. In my last talk, I defined authentic healing as the main telltale sign that we're living in the freedom realm known as the Queendom of God. I now wish to look at the whole concept of worship, an English term that immediately invokes joy or dread, depending on one's own past or present religious background. In our 2,000-year-old Western religious tradition, worship is almost entirely synonymous with communal singing to the divine. Via theologically laden 18th century hymns or trendy new rock and roll worship songs ascribed to the spirit but copyrighted to a prospering singer-songwriter, such sing-songs are globally offered up to the divine each and every Sunday morning. Worship has recently become big business, a buzzword as spiritually frustrated folk search for an authentic divine connection. Today, I'm going to step back from our institutionalized model of communal ritual and examine worship from a desire-based paradigm, one based on divine resonance. Now, hopefully, I can shed some light on Yeshua's radical words to the paradoxically religious but man-hungry Samaritan woman with whom he shared a well-sourced drink. The Father is seeking those to worship him in spirit and in truth. Now, firstly, let me say that the Father or divine love is not a great big heavenly narcissist, one scouring the world of men for an unquestioning admirer. Worship me, my lucky creatures, for I have ego needs well beyond measure. No. Divine love by its own intrinsic nature is deeply at peace with its own inner being. Its spilling over into creative mode is not the desperate action of a self-doubting divinity, one in need of human reassurance, but rather a manifestation of the infinite joy that simply wants to share its essential essence. The desire that flows from divine love is ever only one way, namely, outwards towards the other, a disarming invitation into the union of God and man. Now let's remember that all calls for worship recorded in both Jewish and Christian scriptures are based on this premise, contrary to their many historical misinterpretations. Divine love draws us into worship as a form of healing realignment, not as the desired end of an omnipotently eternal power trip. Yeshua spoke to his new Samaritan friend in Aramaic, the language of the common people in first century Palestine. The Aramaic word, poorly translated into English as worship, is in fact the word seged, which can mean to bow, surrender, or adore. Not much hymn singing or happy clappy chorus dancing there then. Certainly within Hebrew culture, there were set-aside occasions for these, although usually during times of celebration following military victories over their enemies, due, I guess, to the supposed backing of their god Yahweh. So how does this word seged relate to mimetic desire and the maintenance of our own divinely gifted freedom? Let's take a look at its root meanings in turn. Number 1, to bow. In Middle Eastern culture, bowing down was a physical acknowledgement that one was in the presence of a greater being, for example a ruler, or indeed a god. In Jewish tales of angelic manifestations, the poor old angel's first job always seemed to have been to get the shocked human subject back on their feet. In other words, to stop them participating in the act of seged. Many of us have discovered a beneficial new spirituality of oneness through certain Eastern philosophies, and yet this valuable monist experience can itself breed a refusal to bow down to anyone or anything. If we're all manifestations of the divine, then there is no one to bow down to. Such is the subtle difference between a pantheist, all are God, and panentheistic, all are in God, worldviews. Now, mimetic desire appears to have been wired into our human psyche. In skewed desire, we follow and imitate the desire energy of our fellow man. As we have previously observed, this process, whilst delivering a temporary desire high, usually ends in tears with painful disillusionment and relational breakdown. In the Queendom, as demonstrated by Yeshua, our psychic mimetic desire is solely channeled towards our source, the one from whom we sprang in the cosmic dance of creation. For this realignment and reintegration of our fragmented ego desire centers, we must encounter the other via the wind of spirit. To experience this other is to automatically bow down. We just can't stop ourselves. Number 2, to surrender. Now, surrender implies that a prior struggle has been taking place within the soul realm. Our ego or fragmented psyche, comprising our little defensive subpersonalities, has fought long and hard to protect us from the threat of annihilation or non-being. When unconditional love was removed from the psychic programming of our infancy, our frantic little defenders were birthed through necessity, as our innocent and fledgling self recoiled from the traumatic pain of our woundedness. This little army of me permanently sits on a war footing, ready to protect us from further psychological pain and the terrible dangers of scapegoating. But they often initiate a first strike policy on those who threaten to become our model obstacle or stumbling blocks. Now, into such an internal war zone comes divine love, offering us all a way out. Unconditional love as it was meant to be, and desire realignment with spirit breath source. Like the few remaining Japanese soldiers who fought on, albeit in hiding, for decades after the end of World War II, our diligent little subpersonalities are loath to surrender and face ultimate truth, the truth that hostilities are well and truly over. Now, once these fragmented selves are lovingly reintroduced by Spirit into the light of day, surrendering their gift of will to the now present other, a vital transformation takes place. A psycho-spiritual airlift out of our internal war zone into the peace-filled realm of the divine queendom. Number 3, to adore. Now let's face it, adoration is a great relief for the wounded self. Having spent years being hooked by all sorts of desire objects, playing the deadly gravitational mimetic game, it's so good to get off the acquisitive treadmill and stare at the real thing. Adoration is simply a tuning into the desire pool of divine love as it reels us in like a prize salmon, one to be placed not in the stagnant pool of dutiful religion, but in the free-flowing waters of spirit breath. The result of such a homecoming is the living wonder or adoration, the state of shock that follows our reawakening to the nearness of divine presence, that of our transcendent source. Like a puppy snuggled up beside its master, we can't take our spiritual eyes off the one who came looking for us in order to save us from our dysfunctional psychic state. Now finally, let's look at how Yeshua suggests we act in authentic seged. In spirit, or ruah. Only spirit, both our own and that of divine love, can draw our wayward psyche back into divine resonance. The desire of spirit flows freely to the restored psyche. Both appear to vibrate with the same desire energy, an energy birthed in the great divine will. All religion operates in the realm of fragmented self, searching for love, where we later find out it can't be found, namely the scapegoating of the other. Spirit knows nothing of such rivalry and striving. She is the direct route home, the one who returns us to the innocence of the garden. Learning to step out of psychic concerns into the stream of higher consciousness, where spirit communes, is the skill of true worship. In truth, Shirara. In Western religion and spirituality, we are obsessed with truth as a set of beliefs or supposed facts. Yet the Eastern take on truth, or Shirara, is thankfully not so limited. Essentially, in truth, suggests that which liberates and opens up new possibilities, that which vigorously acts in keeping us tuned into universal harmony. It is what carries a person in the right direction at the right time, into a harmonious equilibrium with all. Truth always carries us into our purpose. In other words, it will bring us back into mimesis or unconscious imitation with the divine. The simple evidence of this realignment being love itself, the shared expression of the divine nature. Now, after leaving institutional religion way back in 1987, I'd regularly meet old Christian associates on the high street. "So, where are you now worshipping?" was often the first question aimed at me by their pseudo-brotherly or sisterly concern. "Well, everywhere and nowhere," was my reflex answer, mixed, I must admit, with a little bit of mischievous sarcasm that my zealous religious inquisitor rarely, if ever, picked up on. Now today I would honestly reply, simply somewhere where I can bow down, surrender, and adore, while sensing the liberating breath of spirit and its whispers of divine purpose.